girls, especially the ones that does it most, it makes a lot of trouble within the families and eventually with them. So if I were you, I mean, I know this is just shooting the bull and it don't mean a thing, but I wouldn't think that you would marry out of your color group, because if you do, you might have a lot of trouble down the road. It might work for a little while, but eventually you begin to say, well, I should have done this and I should have done that. And
what kind of trouble?
Oh, I don't know, just trouble between the races, and what you like to do and what they want to do, and I can't tell you because I don't know myself. I've always just thought, though, what I'm talking about is it's better stay in the color group than it is to go out, way out and reach out too far. Because it makes trouble. Say you marry a black girl. She's the greatest little girl ever lived, and she has a lot of good qualities. And you have children that you're white, she's black, then you begin to have trouble. You begin to have, whatever. Just do what you want to do. I don't care what you do. Just do your thing. But you might be better off to stay in your own color group. I don't know, but you might. My grandmother was part Indian, and she and my grandfather got along pretty good. She was the boss, and he done everything she said, so if you're willing to do that, that's okay. She'd say, now, Jim Cruz was his name, and if she disagreed with him, he'd say, now, Jim, I told you. And he'd go right along with her. She was a boss.
Isn't that in every relationship?
In that relationship. And if she told him to do something, he done it immediately. My grandfather was a really nice old man, but he didn't have any spunk at all. Get up and say, Alice, shut your mouth and sit down. Alice would have brained him with a chair or something.
Who was the boss when you were married?
I don't think we had one. I think we just sort of drifted along, and one done the best they could to get the upper hand, and the other said, well, I'll wait and get my turn next time. Of course, that don't work that way. Harold was very easygoing, my husband, and unless he got really riled up, and if he did, there was no changing him. He is just like an old bull. He said an old bull may sit down the corner and look like he's easygoing, but he's not. That's the way my husband was. He was a good person, but don't push him too far. Just don't do that. I used to have this habit of scraping up the cars or doing, I was maybe a little bad driver at that time.
A little bad?
Every time he come in, I made him miss the door with a can of black paint and a sad story about what happened to the car. And he'd just shake his head and say, how bad is it? Well, I didn't mean to do this. Honey, I know you didn't. I'll paint the car over. It wasn't quite that easy, but that's the way I tell it. Sometimes he said, what in the hell have you been doing today? And then I'd pucker up and he'd think I was going to cry, and he'd say, I didn't mean to yell at you, I didn't. He did too, meant to yell at me. He was just afraid to say he did. What's that you got behind your back? A yardstick? What you got a yardstick for? I don't know. He knew good and well I was going to bop him over the head with it if he disagreed with me. No, he was easygoing and I was too, so we got along pretty good. But Randy, when he was little, our son, he had this thing of everything disagreed with him, he would tell his daddy. I would tell Daddy you wouldn't let me buy this, whatever it was, or do this or that. I got so tired of it, and one day I told him, I'm going to give you to your daddy and leave the country. He never said much about it anymore. I've always thought that your Was there Scott your granddaddy or your father?
My dad was Harold Warren, Scott. Your
Okay. Then I'm talking about something I don't know much about, but it seemed to me like that Zer and Essie got along better than anybody that you could think of. But I don't think Essie had enough spunk to say boo to a goose. I don't think she would have disagreed with her about anything. Now that's just my opinion. I wasn't around them enough to know. But you take two people, and both of them is bound and compelled to get their own way, and they have quite a little upheavals going on sometimes.
Oh my gosh. And until she said it, I thought she said Betty Bean. I said, did you just call me a bean? She said, no.
Whoever that is talking, if you listen, we can hear the conversation.
how's the coffee?
They're talking to the lad. Where are you staying?